In a rare moment of tranquility, Elon Musk sat in his office, reflecting on a recent conversation with a colleague about human behavior. An intriguing idea popped into his mind. How would people react if they didn't recognize him? How would they treat someone who seemed to have nothing? That thought turned into an irresistible challenge. Weeks later, in a live broadcast on Tuesday, he finalized the details of his plan. Dressed in simple clothes from a local store, worn shoes, and a dark t-shirt, Elon Musk transformed himself into someone who looked like he was in trouble. A small makeup team helped complete the look, altering his familiar features. The transformation was impressive. Billionaire innovator Elon Musk now seemed like an ordinary man in tough times. He had carefully chosen his destination, the Copper Elm, an upscale restaurant in Santa Fe, New Mexico, known for its exclusivity and elegant clientele. This was not an experiment to shame anyone, but to understand human nature. Would people look beyond the surface, or would they let appearances dictate their actions? Before he left, Elon took one last look in the mirror. The image reflected back at him was unfamiliar, almost frightening. For the first time in years, he felt invisible, disconnected from the identity that defined him. With a deep sigh, he left, his heart beating faster than he expected. The walk to the restaurant was filled with anticipation. As he approached the large double doors of the Copper Elm, he hesitated for a moment before stepping inside. The Copper Elm exuded sophistication. Chandeliers glinted above meticulously set tables, and the murmur of conversation mingled with the occasional click of silverware. Elon's entrance caused a slight disturbance. The diners glanced over briefly before resuming their meals, but the staff exchanged uncomfortable glances. He walked cautiously across the polished hardwood floor, conscious of the scuffs left by his worn shoes. An assistant, impeccably dressed in black, approached hesitantly. Her professional smile faded as she approached. "May I help you?" she asked, her voice polite but strained. "Yes," Elon replied, his tone firm but soft. "I would like a table for one." The assistant glanced down at the floor, where the manager was watching the interaction closely. Her smile faded even further. "We're fully booked for the evening," she said quickly, her eyes drifting to a row of empty tables. Elon noticed the look, but said nothing. Instead, he waited, letting the silence grow uncomfortable. Across the room, a young waitress named Sophia noticed the exchange. She'd been working at the Copper Elm for only a few months, saving up for culinary school. Something about the man caught her attention, not pity, but curiosity. She realized he wasn't just another traveler looking for shelter. "Can I help you?" Sophia called, stepping forward before the manager could dismiss him outright. The room was silent for a moment. All eyes were on Sophia, including the managers, who stepped back but didn't say anything. Elon offered Sophia a hollow smile as she led him to a small table near the kitchen doors. It wasn't the best place, but it was a seat, and he was grateful. "Thank you," he said, his voice sincere. Sophia placed a menu in front of him. "Take your time," he said quietly, ignoring the whispers that had started up around her. Elon scanned the room carefully as he flipped through the menu. The eyes of the other diners ranged from curious to disdainful. He heard snatches of conversation, speculation about who he was and why he was there. The staff seemed uncomfortable, too. One waiter whispered loudly to another, "What's he doing here? He's going to scare away the regulars." Elon noted their reactions silently, each one adding to the picture he was forming. When Sophia returned to take his order, Elon settled on something simple. "Soup and bread," he said. "Is that all?" Sophia asked, her tone kind but surprised. "That's all," Elon replied. Sophia didn't ask anything else. She disappeared into the kitchen, leaving Elon alone with his thoughts and the judgmental stares of the room. He could feel the weight of their stares, but it didn't bother him. If anything, it confirmed why he was there. People often talk about kindness and empathy, but how often do they practice it when it really matters? As Elon waited for his lunch, the tension in the room grew palpably. Servers whispered behind counters, some glancing at him with disdain. A man at a nearby table leaned toward his companion, exclaiming, "What is the manager thinking? Letting someone like him in here?" Elon didn't react, keeping his focus on the room. He noticed the little details. the owner avoiding looking in his direction, the manager chuckling quietly with a waiter, and even the occasional disapproving glances from customers. Each reaction painted a vivid picture of how appearances dictate perceptions. Sophia returned with a bowl, carefully placing tomato soup and a small bag of bread in front of him. She placed the plates with the same care she did for any other customer. "Enjoy your lunch," she said with a genuine smile. "Thank you," Elon said, meeting his gaze. He could sense that Sophia wasn't just doing her job. She was acting kindly. As he ate, he watched Sophia move between the tables, her pace quick but her demeanor calm. She worked without desperation, ensuring that each customer felt taken care of. Elon watched as she handled the more demanding orders with grace, her patience unexpected despite the occasional complaint. At one point, an older woman called out to Sophia, clearly agitated. "Why are you wasting your time with him?" she asked, gesturing gently toward Elon. "People like that shouldn't even be allowed here." Sophia flinched, but maintained her composure. "I believe everyone deserves respect, ma'am," she replied firmly. The woman shrugged, returning to her meal without another word. Elon couldn't help but admire Sophia's courage. It wasn't easy to stand up for someone society considered worthless, especially in a place like this. As he finished his soup, another waiter approached their table. A man in his early 20s with a severe haircut. "Are you planning on ordering anything else?" he asked, his tone bordering on rude. "No, thank you," Elon replied calmly. The waiter gave him a tight-lipped smile before walking away, muttering something under his breath. Elon caught the words, "waste of space," and made a mental note of them. Across the room, a young couple exchanged nervous glances. The woman whispered, "What if he tries to ask us for money?" Her partner flinched, but her expression reflected her discomfort. Through it all, Elon remained composed, his mind racing with thoughts. This wasn't just about how he was being treated. It was about the assumptions people made without knowing anything about him. As Sophia cleared his desk, she paused for a moment. "Is everything okay?" she asked softly. Elon looked up, surprised by her question. "Yes," he said. "Thank you for your kindness." Her expression softened, and she gave him a small smile before moving on. In that brief moment, he saw the humanity he had hoped to find. A glimmer of empathy in a sea of judgment. The atmosphere in the restaurant remained tense, but Elon felt a sense of clarity. The experiment was revealing more than he had expected, and the next phase would take things to a whole new level. The tension in the restaurant reached its peak as Elon rose from the table. His dinner was over, but his experiment was far from over. Slowly, he walked to the center of the room. His words were a reminder of what really mattered. As the last table was cleared and the staff began to set up for the evening, the atmosphere in the restaurant felt different. Slower, but more introspective. The usual laughter and conversation had been replaced by quiet reflection. The staff gathered briefly at the end of the shift, as usual. The normally reserved manager addressed the staff. "This evening has been unusual," he began, choosing his words carefully. "And I think we all have some food for thought after what happened. Let's make this place stand for what we say we are." Sophia caught a few glances from her colleagues, some offering small smiles of respect. She didn't need their approval, but it felt good to know that her actions hadn't gone unnoticed. As she left the restaurant that night, the envelope clutched tightly in her purse, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The money would change her life, yes, but the lesson she witnessed would change the way she approached the world forever. Outside, the city buzzed with its usual energy, but to Sophia, everything seemed brighter, more alive. Elon Musk's experiment had left its mark on her, on the restaurant, and on everyone who witnessed it. In the end, it wasn't just about the money or the fame. It was about the profound impact a small act of kindness could have, even in the most unexpected places. Days after the event, news of Elon Musk's experiment spread like wildfire. Social media platforms were abuzz with discussion, the story reaching millions of people around the world. Headlines ranged from "Elon Musk tests humanity in a high-class restaurant" to "Billionaires' kindness rewarded in unforgettable experiment." Copper Elm quickly became the center of attention, though not all reactions were complimentary. The stories from the restaurant staff and customers, the reporters' first reactions, drew both criticism and introspection from readers. The comments sections were filled with debates about empathy, social judgment, and how appearances shape perceptions. Sophia's life, however, was transformed in one night. Reporters sought her out for interviews, eager to hear her perspective on the event. She was nervous at first, embarrassed by the spotlight, but when she finally spoke, her words were simple but powerful. It wasn't about who he was, she told one reporter. It was about treating someone with dignity, regardless of their circumstances. It's something we should all do, not just for undercover billionaires, but for everyone. The $50,000 check allowed Sophia to apply to culinary school, something she had only dreamed of before. But more importantly, the experience gave her a platform to advocate for kindness and inclusivity in the service industry and beyond. As for Elon, he reflected on the experiment privately. In an interview months later, he spoke briefly about the experience. It reminded me that small actions can reveal the biggest truths, he said. Kindness isn't just about grand gestures. It's about the choices we make every day. The Copper Realm has also undergone changes. Management implemented new training programs focused on empathy and respect for all customers, regardless of their appearance. Employees, especially those who were terminated that night, found themselves reevaluating their biases and behaviors. For those who were present at the restaurant that night, the lesson has stayed with them. Many have returned to their daily lives with a new perspective, carrying the memory of that night as a reminder to treat others with compassion. In the end, Elon's experiment became more than just a story about an undercover billionaire. It became a powerful message about the importance of humanity, a quality that transcends wealth, status, and appearances. And as the world changed, Sophia and the others who witnessed that night never forgot the ripple effect of one act of kindness. Proof that even in a society obsessed with success and status, true character shines through when least expected. If you like this video and it added something to you, watch the next one. The next video will add even more value to you. Leave a like, your comment is very important, subscribe to the channel, recommend this video to a friend and watch the next video.